we're rolling.
If they sound like we're not even there.
Please stand. And let us pray. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Remember, O most gracious Virgin Mary, that never was it known that anyone who fled to thy protection, implored thy help, or sought thine intercession, was left unaided. Inspired by this confidence, I fly unto thee, O Virgin of Virgins, my Mother. To thee do I come, before thee I stand, sinful and sorrowful. O Mother, the Word incarnate, despise not my petitions, but in thy mercy hear and answer. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Excuse me. Alrighty, I'm going to hand out the answer key to the practice exam, test, rather. For those of you watching at home, howdy. I will email this to you if you didn't get it already. Take a minute or two or three and look over these. See if it jives. Go ahead and look those over. For people watching at home, I'm sure this will be so exciting for the next 60 seconds. Offer it up. Okay. And we can start rolling through these things. Okay. All right. Let me zoom this back out a little bit. So, any of these particular problems, I'm at your disposal for the hour to go through anything. A lot of these, maybe just, like number one is memorization. Those are the four things that flip inequalities, etc. There's not a lot to go over on that, just memorize. Any of the other ones, fair game. So, any suggestions or way you want to see dissect it? Yeah. Number what? Three. Yeah. We've got the following. H times the absolute value of a plus 2x plus 4 is less than or equal to 1/16. So, first question. I want to get x by itself. What do I get rid of first? Okay.
-4.
Yeah, the thing that's furthest away from the x is the 4. How do you get rid of it?
Subtract 4.
Right. I'm about to ask a question. I remember what question I'm going to ask. Every single step in an inequality problem, I'm going to keep asking, does it flip the sign? And then Nick, does it or not?
No, it doesn't.
No, subtraction never does. So what do you have so far?
8 absolute value,
Yep.
8 plus 2x is less than or equal to 112.
Right. This does not flip. Do the next one while we're at it.
Divided by 8.
Divide by 8, does that flip the sign?
No, it does not.
Why not?
'Cause
Something.
it's a positive rate.
Right, dividing by a negative will flip the sign, dividing by a positive will not. So what's left?
Absolute value 8 plus 2x
Okay.
is less than or equal to 14.
Correct. 8 goes into 11 once with 3 left over, 8 goes into 32 4. Okay, stop there for a second. Is everybody still okay? One of the mistakes some people do is that once they get rid of the 8, they drop the absolute values by mistake. There's only one way to take down absolute values, and that's by doing what? Splitting. Sam, take over. How do you do splitting?
There's a positive and negative side.
Okay. So positive, negative side. What do you put on the positive side in this case?
8 plus 2x greater than
What the
8
heck am I doing? Hang on a second, I'm spazzing out. 8 plus 2x, I'm sorry.
less than or equal to 14.
Right. And then this one?
8 plus 2x greater than negative 14.
Greater than or equal to negative 14. Splitting flips the inequality, but only on the negative side. So stuff matches with the positive answer, stuff matches with the negative answer. And now, Nick, finish them off.
Subtract 8 plus 5.
Does that flip the sign? No. So 2x is
Less than or equal to
6. Good, keep going. Divide by 2, does that flip the sign?
6.
No. X is what?
Less than or equal to 2.
Okay. Do this one.
Subtract 8.
Okay. Doesn't flip the sign. So what do you get so far?
2x is greater than or equal to
Negative 22. Keep going. Divide by 2 doesn't flip the sign. So x is
greater than or equal to 11.
negative 11. How do you graph that on a number line? Let's take over. What numbers do you need?
3 and negative 1.
3 and negative 11. Which one goes on the left?
Negative 1.
Yeah, be careful here. I've had valedictorians look at this and have 3 show up on the left and negative 11 show up on the right in the algebra section. And so they put 3 here and negative 11 here. Please do not do that. That's awkward. So, negative 11 and 3. Keep going. What kind of dots?
Solid.
Solid. Which way do you go from negative 11 for shading?
To the right.
To the right. Go the one, things that are bigger. How about 3?
To the left.
What happens?
They connect.
They connect. That's your graph. What if they did not connect? What if they went outward? What would you put? Arrows. You just go arrow forever, arrow forever. Does that make sense? Yeah, question.
Just leave it like that, like on the bottom that you have.
Oh, good question. The question is, the answer key has something a little bit different, which kind of makes sense. They made a triple inequality. They went from negative 11 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 3, which is technically the more simple way to write it. I will not require that though. You can write it separately like this or like this. It's totally fine. If you like interval notation, you can also do that. Square bracket from negative 11 to 3. So you don't even have to worry about that. Does that make sense? And how do you get this? I would graph it first, and then this is a lot easier. Any questions on that one? Number 3. Next. Like
Number 6.
number 6. Oh yeah, that. The big huge one. Can you read off the top for me?
3x to the 4th plus 2x cubed
Minus 2x cubed. Okay.
plus 2x cubed.
Oh, plus 2x cubed?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
And then minus 28x squared
Minus 28x squared
minus 18x
minus 18x
plus 9.
plus 9 all over something. What was the something?
X cubed minus 3x.
Minus 3x?
Yes.
Okay. And then what goes here?
Less than or equal to 0.
Less than or equal to 0. Somebody talk me through this. Nick, start me on. How do you do a problem like this?
Yeah, no idea. I had a question about that one too.
Okay. Austin, go.
Like synthetically divide the top.
You could. What are we ultimately going to do to solve this thing?
Do the graph thing,
What's it called?
like the number line.
Yes?
Plus minus notation.
Plus minus notation. We want to do plus minus notation, but we need to find the breakpoints. There are roots, there are vertical asymptotes, there might be holes. Let me list these. Roots, vertical asymptotes, holes. Nick, quick question. Where do you find roots?
On the top.
Top. Where do you find vertical asymptotes? Bottom. Where do you find holes?
One on the top and the bottom.
One on the top and bottom of the cancel. Correct. So we've got a rather big thingy up there. Question: does it factor by any basic method we know? Chip, what do you think? Does it factor by grouping? No, it does not. 5 terms. Does it have a GCF? No. So it looks like we're doomed with the regular ones. So, oh, by the way, does everybody have the first problem in number 2? I need some space. I'm open to suggestions. It does not, normally I would just factor it, but I can't. There's no obvious way to factor it. Any suggestions? Yeah, good.
Synthetic division.
Synthetic division. Now, synthetic division requires that we have a number ahead of time. How do you find the number ahead of time? Megan, what do you think? What number would you try first? Let's say we're trying to do synthetic division on the top. And, well, back up for a second. Ignore the bottom for a second, even though it's easier. And can anybody tell me how many roots this thing has, first of all? Okay, go ahead. 4. How do you know that so fast?
It's X to the 4.
Yeah, degree is 4, so the top has 4 solutions. Can anybody give me an interval where all those solutions have to be? Go.
Between 9 and 9.
Between 9 and -9, or -9 and 9. Correct. How do you get that?
It's just the last term.
It's the last term, positive and negative version of the last term. Correct. Can anybody give me a list of all possible rational roots? Go.
It'd be like plus or minus 1, 9, 3.
Okay, so plus or minus 1, 9, 3 over what?
1, plus or minus 1, 3.
And 3. How do you get those?
You do the factors of the first or last over factors of the first.
Yeah. The list of all possible rational roots, the nice roots we're going to guess, this is our guessing list, is factors of the last over factors of the first. This is not meant to torture you. This is meant to give you a list of things that you can narrow down. And I'm not going to specifically ask on the test. The test is going to look almost identical to what you're seeing in front of you. So I'm not going to specifically say what's the fundamental theorem of algebra, what is the interval, what's the list of all rational roots. That's stuff that you do on your own to get a list that's relatively small, to start guessing. Because we have to start guessing. We have no idea what solutions these things have. Well, we know what I'll get to the bottom in a minute. Can anybody give me a suggestion for which, because pretty much 1 over 1 is a possibility, 9 over 1, 3 over 1, 1 over 3, 9 over 3, 3 over 3. And there are some duplicates in there. So there are several possibilities. What would you try first? As if you just shoot in the dark, but do it logically. Go. 1 is exactly what I would do. How do you test it? Nate? Use synthetic division. So the box number is x equals 1. And then run me through that. How do you do that? We're doing the top, not the bottom.
Each put the numbers in, so
3, 2,
-48,
and 9. What are we hoping to get at the end? 0. We're hoping to get 0 because that's the remainder. Take over, back up. Run me through synthetic division on this. What do you do first? Add. What do you get first? 3. And then you do what?
Times 1.
Yeah, multiply. And you get what?
3.
Good. Keep going. Add.
5.
Multiply.
5.
Add.
Negative 23.
Good. Multiply.
Negative 23. 30. Wait, 41.
Negative 41. Multiply.
Negative 41.
Add. Negative something.
Yeah, 32.
Good. Did that work? No. Don't think it's a waste of effort. First of all, you know 1 doesn't work. Second of all, you notice the remainder is pretty low. Let's try another one. Anything that's on the list. By the way, would I try x equals 7? No, why not? Josh?
It's not on the list.
It's not on the list at all. Yeah, how about 4? No. How about 2? No. So what would you want to try next? Negative 3. Negative 3?
3.
Oh, 3. You can do negative 3 if you want. Let's try 3. 3, 2, negative 28, so we'll set it up again. And 9. Josh, run it through.
So it'll be 3.
Uh-huh. Then 9. Keep going.
11.
Okay.
33.
33. Okay.
5.
5. Okay.
15.
15. Congratulations. Just found a solution. X equals 3 is one of the roots on top. Now, it might be, I'll put a question mark, it might be a whole. I don't know if there's one on the bottom or not. I don't know if there's one. So what do you do now? Congrats. How many roots are left? Mary Claire?
3.
There should be 3 roots left. Does this factor by grouping? How do you know so fast? It doesn't.
They're not proportional.
Right, they're not proportional. 3 to 11 and 30 to 110 would have worked. Or 3 goes to 11 and 6 goes to 22. That would have worked. This thing is not proportional, so it doesn't work. So the only thing we can do, keep guessing. What's your favorite number to guess?
Negative 1.
-1. Sounds good. Do I have to start over? No. Continue where you left off and go for it.
Negative 3.
Well, before
Oh,
you
sorry,
do
3.
3, and then go ahead.
Negative 3.
-3, good.
8.
8, good. All right.
23.
Uh-huh.
3.
Congratulations. Another root, x equals -1. Again, the only reason I'm putting question marks here is I know it's on top, but I don't know if it's going to cancel out as a whole or not. Can anybody translate what we have left? What does this thing look like? Katie, what is this thing? 3, what's the missing letters and such? What was it in the very first place? 3x to the what?
4.
And then we ripped the first one out, it was what?
2/3, so it's squared.
Good, 3x squared plus
8x.
x plus
3.
-3. But yeah, how do you solve that? You could keep guessing if you wanted. But once it gets down to a quadratic, you could do magic pair, that's one option. There are several options at this point. I just want x by itself. If it factors, magic pair should do that. Is there any other method?
Could do quadratic formula.
Quadratic formula would also work. There's also one which almost nobody does, but complete the square. Complete the square could get this in vertex form and you solve with algebra. I don't know, what do you want to do? Go for it.
Quadratic.
Quadratic formula, sure, why not? What is the quadratic formula?
-b plus or minus.
Something before that,
b squared
before that.
plus
At the very, very beginning. What are you trying to solve for?
y.
The very beginning of the quadratic formula, something equals. What's the something? X equals -b plus minus square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Go ahead and run it. So x equals, that's the point of this is we're trying to get the two values of x that'll work. Go ahead.
-8
-8,
plus or minus
I got it. The square root of 8
squared
squared
minus
4 times
times 3
3
times -3.
times -3, good. All divided by
2 times
2 times 3. Question? We're going? Okay, Sam, take over.
3, x equals -8,
Uh-huh.
plus or minus radical 64.
minus?
Plus.
Plus 36. Everybody see why? Minus times minus? Plus. So all over what? 6. What is this, by the way? 64 plus 36. That's 100. Ah, what is that really? X equals -8 plus or minus 10 over 6. Give me the two solutions. X equals what?
Negative.
You want to do addition or subtraction? I'm sorry?
Wait, sorry, what'd you say?
Which one do you want to do first, plus or minus?
Oh, plus.
Sure. What's -8 plus 10?
Oh, 2.
2 over 6, better known as?
1/3.
1/3. And subtract.
Negative. 18.
Yep.
over 6.
Which is
Negative 3.
-3. So at least in theory, we got the 4 roots on top. 1/3, -3, 3, and -1. Everybody right so far? I'm gonna cordon that off. Vertical asymptotes. Take over for me if you would. Rainey, where do you look for vertical asymptotes again? Top or bottom? The bottom. Does the bottom factor?
Yes.
How so?
Bottom.
Yeah, there's a GCF of x. What's left behind? Good. X and x squared minus 3. There should be 3 solutions on the bottom. What are they? Katie, take over.
So it'd just be 0 by
Correct. So you've got x equals 0 and x squared minus 3 equals 0. Go ahead. Well, that's, yeah. We got x equals 0. What about this thing?
add 3 to both sides.
Okay, x squared equals 3.
And square root
How many answers?
it.
2. What would they be?
Positive and negative.
Positive, negative what?
Square root 3.
Exactly. It's not exact, so x equals radical 3, x equals negative radical 3. Question. Austin, are there any holes?
No.
No. Explain.
There's no, like, one's on the top and one's on the bottom. That
Right.
makes sense.
You'd have to have an identical one on top and on the bottom. Like x equals 3 and x equals 3. Radical 3 is a different number altogether. So you don't have to worry about that. We have no holes. We have 3 vertical asymptotes, 4 roots. How do you solve this problem? That was the brutal part. That's what took them forever. So, by the way, is there any of these anywhere? Okay, I need one more little bit of space. So home stretch. Mary Claire, take over. How do you do this mess? I'm looking to see where this is less than or equal to 0. How do you do that? Plus minus notation. So on a number line, can you list me off all the breakpoints in order? Now it's a little tricky with the radical 3, that's like 1.7-ish, if that helps. What's the furthest to the left? -3. What's the furthest to the right? 3. So in between, like, well, here's 0. Name off the other ones in order if you could.
Negative radical 3.
Good. Negative radical 3 is like here. Okay.
Negative 1.
-1. We got 0.
1/3.
1/3. Good.
Radical 3.
Radical 3. I think that's right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think we're good. Everybody right so far? Mark them. Tell me which ones are which. -3 is a what? Roots. Solid dot. How about radical 3? Vertical asymptote. How about -1? Root. How about 0? Yep. 1/3? Root. Radical 3? Okay. And 3? Root. So there should be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So there should be 8 regions in this thing. Bring it home for me, Blaze, how do you do it?
Plug in a number.
Plug in any number you please. I wish 0 would work, but sorry, I stole it. What do you suggest?
No, 1.
1. What region is 1?
F.
Region F. Good. Make sure you know which region is which. X equals 1. Go for it. How do you do that? Y equals, how many, oh, interesting question. We don't have anything to plug in yet. You could plug in a 1 right into this thing. It's a little on the annoying side. You'd have to plug it in and actually grind the answer. Can anybody factor this thing for me? So I've got less than or equal to 0. Can somebody list start with the bottom? Nate. This thing. Factor it completely.
3x.
Well, what comes from X and then what?
X squared minus 3.
X squared minus 3. That works. As long as you can plug something in easily and get whether it's positive or negative. How about the top? That's not obvious, but look at the roots.
So you
Go backwards on the, how many parentheses do you expect?
4.
Yes.
So you do x minus 3.
Good.
X plus 1.
X minus 3, X plus 1.
3x minus 1.
True, although I'm going to do X minus 1/3. I'll tell you why in a minute. And then the other one?
X
Plus 3. Was there a height multiplier? Like what?
3.
Yeah, the number in front is the height multiplier, and that's going to be in front here. That actually is if you distribute it into here, it would give you the 3x minus 1. Either way is fine, but this is a little easier if you have the solutions. Just reinflate them all, put the height multiplier in front. So when you're doing the y, I'm going to count 3 as a positive, and then 4 parentheses, and then 2 parentheses in the bottom. So take over Megan. I'm plugging in x equals 1. I got this one for you. Go ahead and do plus minus.
Minus.
Minus, okay.
Plus.
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 Plus, good, because 1 minus 1/3 is still positive.
Plus.
Plus. How about the bottom?
Positive.
Yeah, x is 1, it's positive. Yes, because 1 squared is 1 minus 3 is negative 2. How many negatives total? 2. What does that make? That's a positive region. Good. So region F is positive. While you're at it, Jaylee, take over. Give me the other side. Go to the right first.
Negative.
Yep.
Positive.
Yep. And go backwards.
Negative.
Uh-huh.
Positive. Negative. Positive.
How'd you get those?
They switch the signs when it jumps over a single root.
Right. Single root or single
Asymptote.
vertical asymptote. Correct. There were no double roots, no double vertical asymptotes. Those would have shown up if it had been like x squared or x minus 1/3 squared. That would have been double root. Okay? Finish the problem for me. Nick, give me the intervals. What intervals are we looking for?
We look for the negative ones.
Negative ones. Do we want the endpoints?
Yes.
Yes. What makes you say that?
It's equal to.
Yeah, less than or equal to means it wants the endpoints. Don't give them lethal endpoints, but give them any safe ones. So x belongs to what?
Square bracket, -3.
Do we want positive or negative?
Not negative.
Negative.
Oh, yeah, that's my.
Okay.
Round bracket,
Good.
negative infinity.
Yep.
-3.
Okay.
Square bracket.
Good. Stop there for a second. Does everybody see where it came from? This is a negative region from negative infinity to -3. The end is safe to give, and they want the end. So the only time you'll ever have square brackets is if they have less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. Keep going. And then,
Would it be a round bracket because it's a
You
vertical
do.
asymptote?
correct. A vertical asymptote is not safe to give them, so
Negative radical 3.
keep going.
-1 square bracket.
Square bracket, good. Take over, Katie. looking for these?
Round bracket,
Yeah. Don't whisper.
0.
Hearing isn't that bad.
um,
Are we looking for positive or negative regions?
Negative.
Negative.
Okay.
Anything that's less than or equal to 0. So just grab all the negative regions and any endpoints that are safe. So it's from 0 to what?
1/3.
Exactly. Round or square on 0?
Round.
Good. How about 1/3?
Square.
Yes. Keep going. Down. Keep going.
Union,
Mhm.
round bracket,
Mhm.
radical 3,
Good. Come on.
3,
Good.
square bracket.
Done. Make sense? Yeah. Go for it. Any questions on how to do that? That's probably gonna be one of the longest questions on the test. So budget some time for that. So I'd say A, get comfortable with synthetic division for anything that's bigger than, normal factoring. And start with the easy ones first. If 1 doesn't work, don't despair, go to -1, go to 3, go to 2, whatever they allow. Then factor everything you can, then start cranking the thing out. Do plus minus notation, and boom. Next. Any other questions on that? Because that is one of the biggest questions on the test. There will be a disproportionate amount of points too, by the way. It's not gonna be huge, huge, huge. Okay. Yeah. Number 5. Find and list the vertex and then graph the inequality. Let me do the get the quadratic formula thingy out of the way. I'll leave the other stuff up for a little bit. Problem number 5. It was y is less than -3x squared. Plus 12x minus 10. Okay. Now, find the vertex. Ow. How do you find a vertex? It's not in vertex form, it's in standard form. How do you do it? There are at least 2 ways to do it. Go.
Complete the square.
Complete the square. What's another way, as long as we're at it? And that's what I did, actually. There's another way. Anybody remember? There's a formula. Yeah.
Negative b over 2.
Negative b over what?
2a.
Over 2a gives you the what?
That gives you the x.
Yeah, it gives you the x
Or
and what?
vertex.
The
Oh, I mean x.
the axis of symmetry, which is the first half of the vertex. Correct. Does that kind of make sense? Remember that? X equals negative b over 2a. That's probably faster than completing the square. Although completing the square will give you the first and the second part of the vertex instantly. So I don't know if it'd be faster or slower. I don't know. Preference? Actually, I called on YouTube Live, so let's do complete the square. What's step 1? Of complete the square.
Set it equal to 0.
Set it equal to 0. This is not permanent. We're just doing this for like 2 minutes. Set it equal to 0 is first step. Then what?
I think move the C over.
Yeah, cancel the c and leave a
Blank.
blank. So negative 3x squared plus 12x plus blank equals what?
10.
Positive 10. Do one more step for me.
And then take out the A.
Yeah, undistribute the a. So negative 3 parentheses what?
Square plus 4x plus blank.
Almost.
Oh, negative 4x.
Negative 4x plus blank equals, and 10 should still be there. Take over Sam. What's step 4?
Compress into a binomial square.
Right, compress it into a binomial squared. Where did it come from?
X plus 2. Negative.
Yeah, negative 2. You can do minus 2 if you really, really want to. Plus negative 2 is good. Where did that come from? This is square the first. Where did that come? Yeah, it came from the 4. What did you do to it? How do you get negative 2? Like, what mathematically did you do? Josh. Go. Okay, Josh.
Divide 4 by 2.
Do you cut it in half? If it's a double product, you undouble it to get the number you use. Nate, take over. What number should have been here? positive or negative 4? Good. Where did you get that from?
You square it.
Yeah, square the first, double the product, square the last. Now there's a 4 here, you can do that as long as you do it to. Does this look right? What's wrong?
You didn't distribute the negative, like.
Ah, it's negative 3 times bigger than we thought it was. What is that really?
So it's gonna be negative 12.
Negative 12. Go ahead and add them now.
Negative 2.
Negative 2. Is that be okay? Blaze, finish it off. How do you get this back into vertex form?
You move it back over.
Yeah, add the 2 back over, and it looks like negative 3 parentheses x minus 2 parentheses squared plus 2 equals 0. Now you can put the y less than in front again. You've just transformed standard form into vertex form. Tell me what the vertex is. 2 comma 2, correct. It's after the minus and then after the plus. So, questions so far? I need some space here. Get rid of this. And I'm planning to post this, so if anybody missed a piece or two, let me know. Or just hit subscribe. Here we go. Vertex is 2 comma 2. What kind of a dot? Back up. What kind of a dot would we use when we're graphing this thing?
Open up,
Open dot, why?
because it's not equal to,
Right, we're not equal to. Is this parabola gonna go up or gonna go down?
it's gonna go down.
Why do you say down?
The height multiplier is negative,
Height multiplier is negative. Is it normal height, taller, or shorter? Taller. How many times taller?
3 times.
Exactly. So what's the pattern? Normally it's over 1 up 1, over 2 up 4.
So it's over 1 down 3.
Down 3, correct. Open dot, and then if we had room, over, you probably do, over 2, down what?
3.
Normally it's over 1, down 1, over 2, down 4 for an upside down. This one is over 1, down 3, over 2, down what?
59.
Almost. What's it normally?
4.
4.
Oh.
3 times bigger.
So that would be 12.
12. Down 12. So we're up at 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So way down here at negative 10, you're going to get your second pair of points. Does the thing say use at least 5 guide points? Oh, you guys are lucky. Yeah, to make a good parabola, you usually need 5 guide points, the vertex and 2 pairs of guide points. So take over, Mary Claire. Is this parabola going to be solid or dotted? Dotted, correct, for the same reason that the dots are open. There's one last thing, Mary Claire, what am I missing?
Shading.
Shading. How do you tell which way to shade?
It's less than, so it's going down.
Ah, nice. If you have a letter by itself, there's a shortcut for shading. It's follow the sign. Y is less than. What direction does that suggest to you?
Down.
Down. So down below the border, and this is your graph. If you're ever in any doubt, you can always plug in a point. That's the guaranteed way to find shading. In this case, I would plug in 0, 0. And if you do it, it comes up false. 0, 0 is like 0 is less than negative 10, which is not true. And so this would be false, which means the outside is false, so the inside must be true. Does that make sense? Next. Any others you want to see dissected? Now is a good time to ask. So we did 6. How'd y'all do on the corn and wheat problem? Okay, everybody feeling semi-comfy on that? Any parts of that that you want to go over? That's a good thing to, if there's any part of that that you're feeling, holy mackerel, it feels like I just got hit by a truck, now's a good time to ask. Anything with, yeah, go.
On the test will be a corn and wheat problem, or will it be like a food A, something like
Oh.
that?
Yeah, is it going to be food A, food B? Is it going to be cabinet A, cabinet B? I'm pretty sure it's 2 different crops. I might do wheat and rye just to freak people out. It's the same. no, not soybeans. I can't handle the soy. Yeah, you can handle soybeans. Any questions? Did anybody get the extra credit? Anybody try the extra credit? Yeah, question.
How would you know what to say on that? Because I tried it and I solved it
Which one?
for 11.
11. Okay. Oh, interesting. Did you get something really psychotic that was like forever true?
It was like 0 is less than 0, which doesn't make sense.
It'd be 0 is less than or equal to 0.
Yes.
Is that true or false? It's true. How often? Always. Guess how many x's work? All of them. You say x equals all real numbers. What if you had come up with something that was completely dull, like 0 is less than, or no, like 5 is less than 3? Is that true? 5 is less than 3? How often is it true? Never. What does that mean?
That's it, it's,
No solution. You say x equals no solution. Now, it says graph its solution. If there's no solution, it's a really, really easy graph. You leave it blank. Now, if you want to play with anybody's mind, this is evil, by the way. Guilty. I actually did this once as a student. I normally don't do this because I'm scared to death to make the teacher irritated, especially if he's giving me partial credit. I don't want a little weasel like, and then I don't want him to say, well, I'm going to give you 5 less points than I gave everybody else because he's a weasel, because he annoyed me. Is there a way to graph and actually mark something and mark no solution? Yes, watch this. This is what I did as is kind of evil. Why did I pick 2? I don't know, just to play with his mind. Why did I put an open dot? Because it doesn't cover anything. What does this cover? Zip. Nada. Absolutely nothing. How do you graph all real numbers? Now that one you actually have to do something. I do it like this. Why did I pick -7? Just to play with his head. You can pick any number whatsoever, it'll work for anything. And then just shade both ways and make sure it's solid. That covers everything. So, does that make sense? All right. Number 12, by the way, it looks like an easy reciprocal problem. And you would have gotten half of the solution correct if you had done that, but not the other half. That you have to do plus minus notation. You have to get the answer down to 0. It's a lot more complicated than it looks. We run into this in first year algebra, and I say, don't even do that problem. Wait for pre-calc, because we don't learn plus minus notation until pre-calc. So go ahead and read these step by step there. But anytime you have an inequality, you can have to graph somehow. And chances are it's either a full graph or plus minus notation, which is a compressed graph. Next. Anybody want to go over anything else? Everybody okay? Number 4, that you can do chubby hand method, you can do slope intercept form if you're feeling so inclined. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good, yeah. So the test will be the same length. I would recommend, well, it's up to you. I usually do the long problem first, just because I'm me, but other people, if it takes a long time on the long problems, do the other ones first, so you can get the points. Just budget a little bit of extra time for that problem number 6. That's all I have for you, believe it or not. So if you want to spend the last 9 minutes letting your brains cool off, study for the test, feel free. People watching at home, I'll try and email this stuff as much as humanly possible. And God bless. See you later.